Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, the 76ers have been one of the surprise teams of the season, and not because of Joel Embiid. Meanwhile, the Magic are facing an identity crisis, and the Hawks don't look like the winners of the offseason right now. You are Locked On NBA Daily.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, however you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Wes Goldberg, and today we are talking about the teams that have impressed us the most and the ones that have disappointed us the most through the first week of the season. We're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts. I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast. He's a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
Bring up the Bulls! Also, VJ Edgecombe rules. He just rules, man. VJ Edgecombe is awesome.
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, he's also a Bulls and Bears creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize.
This has been the best start of an NBA season in at least the last decade in my mind. Like, it's a game every single night, 1 to 2 games every single night that is just completely exhilarating. Like, it's been a great start to the season.
We had a 50-point game from Lauri Markkanen last night that I don't even know what we're going to talk about. We got 50-point games happening all the time. I agree with you, Haize. This has been a very, very fun start to the season. And we're going to start on a high note. We're going to start with the teams that have impressed us the most now that we are officially 1 week into the season. Next segment, we'll talk about the teams that have disappointed us the most, and then we'll look ahead to some big games that are coming up tonight. But Matt, I want to start with you. The team that impressed you the most, or at least one of the teams that has impressed you the most.
There's actually been quite a few, which is always promising, I think. I got to say, I don't want to steal Haize's thunder here, but it's the Bulls. Like, they're defending their faces off. Like, how is Billy Donovan doing this? Like, he does this so often, but it's crazy with Nikola Vucevic at center and Josh Giddey and Trey Jones. Like, their rotations are so on point. A lot of the advanced metrics are kind of like, a lot of it's straight to the schedule. But we're so early on that if you hold these guys down, your strength of the schedule gets hurt by the fact that you played them and held them down. I've been really impressed with Chicago. I just think they continue to make huge plays. Like last night, they adapted on the fly to Atlanta, where Atlanta makes a run, and then they just start crashing the glass over and over and over again. And like their athleticism, and they're doing all this without Kobe White. I'm really impressed with the 3-0 Bulls, Haize.
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls are doing it like through physicality and defense, something that they talked a lot about in training camp. And we've really flipped the script. Last year, we were one of the more efficient teams offensively, and we had one of the fastest paces. We're towards the bottom of those metrics right now, and that makes sense without Kobe. But we're at the top defensively in a lot of metrics. I think we have now the 5th best defensive rating in the game of basketball after being number 1 through the first two games of the season. The Bulls are really it's really getting through depth. AK, our president of basketball operations, got completely reamed for saying, well, I feel like you can build a core around 9 or 10 really good players. At least right now, it looks like that's working for the start of this Bull season. They're going consistently 10 players deep into their bench. They have 6 players averaging double figures. We had 8 players in double figures last night. The Bulls are getting it done as a team.
According to Cleaning the Glass, if you eliminate garbage time, the Chicago Bulls have the number 1 defense in the NBA.
That's crazy.
Right now.
It's crazy.
I don't know how. Wait, who's the anchor defensively of that team? You cover them for Locked On Bulls.
We don't have, and it's funny because we did this when we first had DeMar and Lonzo. We did this similarly then. Caruso was out with injury. We had a top 5 defense for 2 years in a row without really very many individually one-on-one good defenders. You got to give Wes Unseld, who Billy Donovan turned the defense over, I got to give him credit, but he's come up with a defensive system that has everybody bought in, and they're just doing it as a team. Everything they do, they're doing it as a team. The assist percentage, I think we lead the league in that. Defensively, they're communicating. They're all getting after it. Last night, when Kristaps Porzingis was killing us for 3 quarters, it's like in the 4th quarter, they basically said, hey, you're not scoring in the paint against us. I saw Nikola Vucevic on 5 straight possessions protect the rim. He didn't get a single block, but he deterred shots at the rim. And I was like, where did this Vooch come from? So they're just doing it as a team.
Shout out to giving credit to guys named Wes, just in general. I am pro that. There's not a lot of us out there. Haize, I want to throw to you again here. Another team that's impressed you through the first week.
Man, a team that's really impressed me since Matt took my Bulls, I'd say the 76ers, man. And, I came into the season saying the 76ers could be a disruptor in the Eastern Conference, meaning like they could be really good. They could win 35 games. I don't know which way it's going to go. I still don't know that for sure. But through the starting part of the season, they're getting it done with Maxey and Edgecombe and their young guys. And it's almost like those guys said, hey, listen, Embiid may not be here a lot. We got to be great without Embiid. And they're going out and doing it. And McCain still isn't even there. Like, the way that this 76ers team has performed offensively and defensively this season, and so many of the young guys, Dembana, and some of the old guys, like we saw Andre Drummond get in the game and play really good. Like, it's just amazing that they look this good this early on in the season.
They're on a back-to-back tonight, and I'll just be kind of curious to see what happens. They should kill the Wizards. The Wizards are terrible, but I just kind of want to see what happens with Joel. Like, if Joel is in there getting his versus poor Alex Sarr and Tristan Vukcevic, and the offense actually it doesn't look as explosive. If this game is closer than it should be, I'm just going to be keeping a real close eye out on that in the 20 minutes that Embiid's going to play, because at this point, I love the way this team plays without him. They play free, they play awesome. Like, they dominated that game last night. They were running up and down. Magic made like a late run, but it felt like every single time the Magic did anything, the Sixers answered with key plays, clutch plays, big shots. VJ Edgecombe is obviously your rookie of the year right now, a whole 4 games in.
And Tyrese Maxey making shot after shot after shot in that fourth quarter down the stretch. And I want to throw it now to Locked On Sixers, who are talking about not just a good 76ers team, but one that is fun to watch, which I haven't necessarily had in Philadelphia in a couple of years.
Been thrilling. This up-tempo style of basketball, the guard-run team is so exciting to watch. It's electrifying, as a matter of fact.
Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe combined for 186 points. That's the most points by a starting backcourt through the first 3 games since the 1970-71 season. The Sixers backcourt is a problem right now for opposing teams to defend. A problem. And I hate to say it, these 2 guys are out there, and where they go, the team will follow.
Haize, the subtext to what Keith was saying there, where these guys go, these guys being Maxey and Edgecombe, the team will follow. It does not feel like Joel Embiid's team right now anymore.
And if I'm the 76ers front office, that's what I want. And like I said, no knock on Joel Embiid. Like, I know Matt kind of has the opinion of move him. I like, if you keep him, fine. It's going to be difficult to move him, but you have to have a team that's good enough to win without Joel Embiid, at least to a certain level. So if I'm the running the 76ers, I'm extremely happy that this no longer feels like a team that has to ebb and flow based on if Joel Embiid is healthy or not. You have guys that are ready to carry the torch here for the 76ers, and what that does is that provides a direction for how you can build this team going forward. And that's what the 76ers have really lacked here for the last few years.
And look, I think a good counter to my position on this is that, they're fun now in the regular season, but if you want to win in the playoffs, you got to be able to slow it down, and you got to have superstars. And Joel Embiid fits that bill. Mm-hmm. I think the problem with that is, if you look at his playoff history, it hasn't been phenomenal, even in the rare times when he's been healthy. So I don't know, what the alternative here is. What I do know is the vibes with this team are tremendous with the way that they play together, and they're able to play. There's real synergy, and everything is moving. They're playing a great brand of basketball right now. And I think that needs to be paid attention to as they try and figure out what the best thing to do is going forward. They've had so many contributors. I also some of their role players don't get enough credit. Guys like Kelly Oubre, Dominic Barlow missed last night, but he's been really good in the starting lineup. They're getting contributions from everybody. And again, not to make too much, I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill here. Nick Nurse seems to be coaching up the other guys fine for a guy that tends to clash with Joel Embiid quite a bit. The other guys seem to be getting a lot out of Nick Nurse's coaching here.
What's happening with the 76ers also here is they don't need Joel Embiid necessarily to be good anymore. I mean, that's sort of the other story here is Tyrese Maxey is good enough to carry them to wins. VJ Edgecombe, I agree with you, Matt. Like there has not been a better rookie so far this season than VJ Edgecombe. He plays like a vet. He's been really good for them. Quentin Grimes has had his moments. Like in the past, it's been kind of Embiid or bust for the Sixers, and it hasn't really been that, which makes people feel like, okay, well, maybe this is a team that could potentially go in a different direction here. So good for the Bulls, good for the 76ers for making our most impressive list. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the teams that have disappointed us through 1 week of the season. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything you need, from who's going to score next to the fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is also brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love that what you see is what you pay. No hidden fees at checkout. Plus, I can see exactly where what my view looked like before I bought the tickets with their in-app seat view feature. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section. Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONBA, for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go with Game Time. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube. We talked about the teams that have impressed us the most. Let's go to the other side of this now, Haize. Which team has disappointed you the most through 1 week of the season?
Man, the Orlando Magic. I gave them so much credit for the injuries and stuff that they had last season that ravaged that team, and I thought that they were going to be a team. And they I want to be clear, everything I say here could easily turn in the next couple of weeks. But so far to start the season, like, the Magic have just been disappointing. The Desmond Bane acquisition has been okay. Their defenses seem to take a step back from the defense that we've seen them be over the last couple of years prior to this. And right now, they just seem like a team that just doesn't have any energy about them. And maybe that's going to pick up as the season goes on. But, like, there's something going on here with Orlando. And while they try to keep most of that core intact, I don't know. Something may need to change if this goes all the way into January with this team struggling in this way.
I mentioned this yesterday, but it continues to absolutely just floor me. They are number one in expected EFG. All right, so what that means is, if you're not stats, if you don't want to look at a hoop or a graph during a hoop convo, is like, what should you shoot based off of where you're shooting from, right? Are you taking threes? Are you taking mid-range jumpers? Are you taking, short-range jumpers? Are you taking shots to the rim? They are number one in that category, and they are 24th in actual. They just cannot shoot. They just cannot put the ball in the basket. They're generating pretty good looks. Now, that number is not going to account for what shooter is shooting or the contest level, right? There are more advanced numbers that can provide those kind of things. The one thing that's very evident is just like, whatever this is a systemic problem. I am to the point, first, I'm to the point of, like, let's consider exorcisms. Like, we might just need to go ahead and try and clean some evil spirits out of whatever is going on in Orlando. But two, I actually think that a big part of this is the level of effort they put in on the defensive end. I do not think they are able to balance the effort that they give on the defensive end with trying to generate stuff on the offensive end. And this is one of the hardest things in the league. Like, stars will tell you this, is that trying to figure out how do you balance putting the energy that you need to in order to score efficiently, and then also have enough left in the tank for you to be able to do your job on defense. I honestly think the Magic are just going to have to pull back a little bit. If that means that they're no longer an elite, like, that's scary for them, right? It's like, yeah, but if we're not an elite defense and we can't shoot, we're terrible. Okay, But like your defense is getting it done. You're still losing games because that's how bad your offense is. Like you got to peel back a little bit on defense. I know that's hard to be like, try, but don't try too much. It's very hard to figure out. But I think that they're going to have to rebalance some of the effort that they give on defense to give themselves more energy on offense. They're not beating guys off the dribble. They're not collapsing defenses. That game versus the Bulls the other night was shocking to me. Every time the Magic moved the ball, every time the Bulls were in rotation. And we talked about how good the Bulls defense has been, but that's a two-way street here because Orlando is just not moving the ball fast enough to create separation. And that's a huge issue.
I think the big thing that you zeroed in on there is saying they may need to cleanse the evil spirits, because I do think that the evil spirits account for Jalen Suggs' hairline. But go ahead, Wes. I apologize.
That's the only bad thing we get to say about Jalen Suggs on this podcast. No, I want to pick up on that point that Matt was making about defense. This is a team whose identity for the last few years has been defense. They coach it. Jamal Mosley is really big on it. And yet, right now, they're in the middle of the league in defensive rating. And Philip Rossman-Reich over on Locked On Magic is using words like identity crisis when it comes to this team, even defensively. So it's not, yes, they're putting all that energy in on the defensive end, but they're not really seeing the results right now. And that's why this team feels like it's spiraling right now. Let's hear more from Philip over at Locked On Magic.
And all the changes and all the things the Magic did this offseason were predicated on and bet on being able to maintain this core identity. The Magic were a physical team. They outworked you at every turn. It was to build the best defense in the NBA, or at least a culture of defense that no team could match. Even though the stats would say the Magic have done good things defensively, and again, I'll say this, they've done some good things defensively. It's not there yet, but it was getting there. The Magic in this game gave up 137.4 points per 100 possessions.
I think Philip found the demons. That's what he looks at when he looks over to the side. I think he found the demons. So go ahead, Wes. Sorry.
He's like, don't come over here. I'm still able to shoot in my driveway. No, but he's right. Like, they're not doing it defensively, and they're clearly not doing it offensively. So Haize, like, where does that leave the Magic right now?
They are in an identity crisis, and it's crazy to be what the 3-4 games in already being an identity crisis. But they aren't successful in anything right now. Now we've seen teams get off to slow starts and they're able to rectify. That's why I want to be clear. The shots may just start falling at some point in time, and if that happens, then watch out, because this team, if they do catch that momentum, then it may be no looking back from that. But as it stands right now, they're not good offensively. They're not great defensively, which is what they've hung their hats on. And despite some solid performances from Franz, is it time that we start worrying about Paolo at some point this season? Because he's had more bad games than good games this season.
They're not going anywhere if they can't get an efficient season out of Paolo. Like, it's not going to happen. He's got too much of a usage rate. Like, you're just missing possessions there. They're 20th on offense, schedule adjusted. They're 3rd on defense, schedule adjusted, which puts them, I think, in a better situation than the Atlanta Hawks, Wes.
Let's talk about the Hawks, man.
17th on offense, 17th on defense. They're not good at anything. What is this team good at? What are they good at? There's nothing that you can really hang your hat on with Atlanta. In that game last night, they made a run that was kind of offensive rebounds, got them going a little bit. There are stretches where Porzingis looks really good. Their pick and pop action with Trey Young looks really good. Trey's still able to make a lot of really great plays offensively, but they're not getting real impact defensively from anybody outside of like Nickeil Alexander-Walker and a little bit of Jalen Johnson. Like, they just do not have enough impact defenders right now. They don't have an identity, and that to me is a big problem. This is one of the worries that I have with them coming in. If you have Trey Young, you're an offensive team. Like, you're an offensive team if you have Trey Young. The rest of their roster is defense. And I get the idea. If we have Trey and a bunch of great defense, voila. No, it's not how it works. You need to have an identity. And right now, to me, Haize, I do not see this team as having any sort of consistent identity.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, they have a lot of new key pieces, so I'm going to give them some credit for not having an identity yet. But the problem is that you brought in these defensive pieces, and your defense isn't great. Like, I don't know what their defense rating was last season off the top of my head, but I would imagine that what you spent to get Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kristaps Porzingis and then the draft asset you spent to get Asa Newell in here, who's actually playing a decent amount of minutes as a rookie, the defensive results just aren't there. They're not there at all. And, coming into the season, there was always some question, okay, like how good is Trey going to fit with these young players? And I'm not blaming it just on Trey, but like I think like the style of basketball you have to commit to with Trey Young being your hub offensively, I just don't know if it's going to suit this team in the long run. They have a lot of really good players and pieces on this team, a lot of them. And even last night against the Bulls, they had some players that went on some runs and hit some shots that you just wouldn't expect. Like they have good players on this team, but the results just aren't there yet. So the Hawks are going to have to ask themselves, if depending on how long this continues, like, is it Trey? Is it something else? Like, what is it? Because right now it seems to be no cohesion in this team. And even the thing that you were last year, as far as a fast-paced offensive team, that's not working for you either this year. And Trey's, for the first time in 3 years, his assists per game number has gone down so far this season.
To both of your points, like there are moments with the Hawks where they look like the team we thought they would be, right? Where the offense is clicking and defensively, like Dyson Daniels does something, whatever. Their floor is so low. It just feels like they give up possessions. And they had a 6-point lead in the last couple of minutes against Chicago. And it was just like, well, here's an offensive rebound for a tip in. Here's we're going to foul you now. Here's a blown defensive assignment where you just got a streaking cutter wide open at the basket. Dyson Daniels blows a late reverse layup late in the game. And it's just like they found a way to kind of give that game away. As much credit as we want to give Chicago, like the Hawks kind of also fell apart at the end of that game. And that's sort of been their problem, is they fall apart in some of these games. They fall apart in play-in tournaments. They fall apart in playoff games. And that has been the thing that keeps getting in their way. So it's been disappointing so far. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, 3 steals for Dyson Daniels in last night's game, but a 130 defensive rating. And this is like what it was last year with him too, was, oh man, what incredible defensive numbers. And they get cooked with him on the floor.
I say it all the time. Dyson Daniels is a really good defender. And something like, on ball, it leaves a lot to be desired for Dyson Daniels. And people miss that because of the steal number.
Yeah, like there's a lot of this where it gets into, you could be a really good off-ball or on-ball defender and struggle in the other. And I think that we actually see that pretty consistently with Dyson Daniels and a lot of this Hawks roster. The only guy I thought played defense well last night was Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He's the only guy I thought that really applied pressure and was ever making the plays that they needed him to make.
Other than the Bulls, who are apparently amazing defensively. The Stars are facing off tonight. We've got Brunson versus Giannis. We got Steph versus Kawhi. We're going to talk about it next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's SAAD, SAD. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. What I love about Rippling is how it removes the bottlenecks and busy work that slow teams down. Everything from onboarding to payroll to IT access runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously simple to use and gives companies one source of truth for their people, data, and everything they touch. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just fill the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNBA. Learn more at Rippling, RIPPLING.com/LockedOnNBA. That's rippling.com/LockedOnNBA for 6 months free. Today's episode is also brought to you by Monarch. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all of our financial accounts, let alone know what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments, it's easy to lose track, and that can mean leaving serious money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. It's helped me organize my accounts, track my spending, and get a better handle on my investments without having to touch a spreadsheet. Monarch's visual dashboard and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where my money's going and how to make it work harder for me. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. We'll be right back. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every team, so go ahead and check out Locked On 76ers, Locked On Bulls over with Haize, Locked On Magic, Locked On Hawks for the teams that we've already talked about. You're going to want to check on some of these games for tonight. Let's start with our first primetime game, Peacock and NBC, 8 p.m., Knicks at Bucks. Matt, it's Jalen Brunson versus Giannis. Both of these guys are off to a great start. What are you watching for?
Am I watching for? I think the biggest thing I'm kind of watching out for is if the Bucks can get their defense to be the kind of level that I think it can be this season. Like, I think that there's a lot of potential for this Bucks defense. They're 13th right now, schedule adjusted. They're missing Kevin Porter Jr., which is obviously like that's their starting point guard. So that's like a big deal there. The other thing here is just like, look, I just think that the Knicks are probably going to roll. They've got nobody to defend Brunson tonight. So Brunson's going to have an absolutely monster game. There's just nobody that can handle that perimeter assignment. And they're going to struggle, I think, a lot when they face these types of teams that are led by small guards with Brunson's type of shiftiness. And even if the Bucks are able to hang on because of their offense gets going versus a Knicks defense I think is a little overrated, then you're just going to have Brunson in clutch time going off. So I don't love this matchup for the Bucks. I think the Knicks are probably going to win here, and then we're going to be talking about like, hey, are the Knicks going to win the Eastern Conference again? Like, they're going to be the talk of the town, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah, I look at a lot of the same things. The Bucks, they started off the season with 2 wins. It was against Washington and Toronto. They then lost against the Cavs. Now they have this stretch where they're against New York, Golden State, Sacramento, Indiana. Indiana's not a great team. I don't think they've won a game this season, but they're in a tougher stretch now to really see who this Bucks team is. Not to say that Giannis isn't great. He's off to a great start of the season, but the Bucks always had the feel of a team that's like, okay, they can beat bottom feeders. How many of the teams above 500 are you going to be able to beat this season? So I'm really interested to see this matchup with them and the Knicks and how they deal with it, because I don't see them being able to do anything with the Knicks, to be 100% honest with you. I see the Knicks running away with this one.
Could be a high-scoring game. I mean, Mitchell Robinson hasn't played yet this season. They're playing Ariel Hakporti there at center for kind of token 10 to 12 minutes a night. And when he's not in there, it's Gershon Yabusele or Karl Anthony Towns at the 5. Giannis could have some room in the paint, in other words, tonight. This might be I might want to take the over on the point total in this one. Let's go to our late game, 11 p.m., guys, on Peacock and NBC. That's a new thing for us on the East Coast. Clippers at Warriors. Matt, what are you watching for?
It's 9 o'clock here. It's perfectly reasonable. I don't know what your problem is. So Warriors on a back-to-back. We'll see who plays out of the old man group there, out of the the Wild Hogs. Wild Hogs has called it. We'll see who plays for them. I actually think the Clippers are probably going to roll them here. Warriors riding high. They got up for that Memphis game because they love beating up on Memphis. They love beating up on Memphis because Memphis talked so much trash a couple of years ago. So after like Draymond got into it last night and a big look at how good we are. They are at home on this back-to-back, but I just think that the Clippers had that absolute dud in the opener versus a Utah team who is, by the way, just incendiary offensively. They are so hot right now. Clippers actually, since then, numbers are very, very good. So I think the Clippers get the win here. James Harden has a big game as the Clippers get the win over the Dubs.
You make a great point about the old guys, but that's why the fact that Steve Kerr is now playing Jonathan Kuminga is going off for 40 today. The Warriors are getting the win today. Jonathan Kuminga is going to go off today, and the Warriors are going to get the dub.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm skeptical of all this Kuminga stuff. Like, everyone's like,
look at how it's just to shop him. That's all they're doing here.
Well, it's also just like, look at how he's so locked in. And I'm like, great. Just got paid early season. Vibes are good. Let's see. Let's just see how that attitude goes. And if Kerr doesn't get annoyed with him, show me. Kerr's trying everything he can right now to be positive reinforcement towards him. I'm skeptical this is going to hold. We'll see how this works. But tonight is obviously recent. So, he could have a big game tonight. We'll see kind of what happens. I don't love him going up against the rim protection that they have, though, with Zubac and Brook Lopez. By the way, Brook Lopez is balling right now. The Chris Paul Brook Lopez combo is one of my favorite things in the world right now.
Yeah.
2 oldest teams in the league, I think, the Clippers and the Warriors, and their tip-off even on the West Coast is 8 p.m. Past our
There's going to be a
bedtime.
lot of naps before the game.
Well,
a
the
lot of
World Series
Shoot
game
around
went,
is just going to be naps. That's what that's going to be.
the World Series game went to like 4 a.m. last night.
Bro,
It's
what was it, 18
fine.
innings?
But at least it started
18?
at a normal time. If it started at 11 p.m., it would still be going on now.
That's crazy.
It's not my fault you live on the worst coast.
East Coast, your mistake. What might be the game of the night, guys, and correct me if you disagree here, or tell me if you disagree. Hornets at Heat. Is this the game of the night? The Hornets are kind of fun. The Heat might have the most fun offense in the league. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong only because Doug Branson covers the Hornets, and I have since he forsaked us, I have nothing nothing good to say about
The
the
Locked On NBA Daily host and former host going at it today.
Forsooked us. Did I look at the slate? Yeah, I think this is probably no. I'm sorry, it's Sixers Wizards for me because I'm a sicko. But outside of Sixers Wizards, I do love this game. LaMelo is one of the most fun watches because every other play is like, why would you do that? Why would you take that shot? And the following sequence is like, that was perfect. Like, that was absolute perfection. You were so good. And then the next play is, why would you do that? Why would you take that shot? So yeah, I mean, look, I like this Heat offense. You don't have to sign me up for Davion Mitchell. Any game that Davion Mitchell is involved in,
Yes,
I am there. Averaging 8 assists per game. Love Davion Mitchell. Really like this Heat team. Hawkes is playing well. The Nikola Jovic is like a plus 30 while he continues to every single time just confuse me because I'm like, what does he do? He doesn't do anything. And then just, they're plus 30. I'm down. This is a great game for the sickos tonight.
If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Locked On NBA Daily.